Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Megan, and I'm here with a library book haul predictions reveal video. These are the library books we will be talking about today. So, we'll be talking about the 4 that I talked about in my last video, plus 1, because like this year has been going, I receive not all of my library books at one time. It's been fun. But let's just jump right into it. So the first book that I read was Reverie, A Year of Bees by Jenna Butler. This is the cover of it. It's very pretty. So this was longlisted for the Canada Reads 2023 books of this year. And I really liked this. I rated it 4 stars. It surprised me. I mean, it was a very quick, short read. It was basically a memoir / essay of a year of bees. So Jenna Butler has become a beekeeper, and this is basically a year in the life of being a beekeeper and what she's learned about being a beekeeper, like what it's taught her, what the bees have taught her. There's like kind of some philosophical kind of moments in her life. Like, it was really, really well written, and I truly like the passion that she has for bees and the ecosystem and everything. Like, it was just so much fun to read. I didn't rate it a full 5 stars because I wish there was more about bees. Like, I ended up Googling facts about bees because I was like, I'm not exactly sure how bees work. So I ended up having to do some Googling. So I wish there was just a little bit more information. Other than that, this was a really, really good read. And it was really fast paced too. So highly recommend that one. The next book I read was Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crook Stick by Zora Neale Hurston. This was a collection of short stories. I rated this 3 stars. Some stories I liked more than others. Some stories were told more in a narrative, whereas some were told in more of like, they're almost like point form, and I wasn't really sure what the connection was and why it was told in that form. But as for the content, like, it takes place during the Harlem Renaissance era, and I thought that was really interesting, and it was educational in that sense because, like, it's not something that I typically read about, so it was definitely interesting and engaging. It just didn't hook me as much as I wanted it to, and like some of the stories didn't feel as fleshed out as they could have been. So that's where I would probably read maybe one of her novels, but I was reading also that, like, we're not supposed to be reading her short stories together. Like, because they weren't written together, they were supposed to be just read as like one-offs. So I was like, oh, okay, so maybe that's why I didn't like this as much. There is a foreword in the beginning of this, like an introduction, that I thought was very beneficial because it kind of explains to you what you're going to be reading, and I thought that was really good to read before and then to even go back to after, because then you're like, oh, what she's saying like makes sense, and like you can actually like see the points better than you saw them before. So I think it's good to read before and after. So, but that was a 3-star read for me. The next book I read was War of the Bastards by Andrew Schwartz. This was the final book in this trilogy, and I don't know, it felt so lackluster, and I feel sad that I didn't like it as much as I did. I still rated it 4 stars, but there was just something missing in this one. Like, I mean, obviously, like, the ending was, I knew where we were going with, I knew how this was going to end, but I mean, I didn't know how exactly it was going to end, but I kind of figured this was how it was going to go down. And maybe that's why it felt lackluster to me. I don't know. I just wanted more. But what I really love is the characters. The characters really grew from the beginning of this trilogy to the end. Like, wow, especially Lyanna. Is that her name? Lyanna. I don't know how to pronounce her name because I've always ever just read it in my head, but she goes through a transformation that I love. And I'm like, she is the best character out of this entire trilogy. I don't care what you say. She's not the main character, but she is one of the best characters. So she's like 5-star for me, but I mean the rest of this was like a 4-star. I mean, I wanted to rate it 3-star because I didn't like it as much, but I went 4 because I was like, you know what? I rated the rest of the trilogy 4. I will continue on and make this a 4-star trilogy. I really enjoyed it. It was very fast paced. There was never a moment where I was like, whoa, and like it was easy to follow. So you were never bored. So this was a really cool trilogy. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. The next book I read was Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix by Julie C. Deo. This is book 2 in this trilogy. I don't know what this trilogy is even called, but the first book was Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, and that was kind of like for me. But this one was it. I loved this book. I rated it 4 stars. But we finally find out that Su Feng has become evil. Like, she is evil. So this is 20 years later, and her stepdaughter Jade is now kind of impeding on her still being the Empress. So now she's kind of after Jade, being like, I need to kill you because you can't be the Empress. My hair has to be the Empress, and because you're alive, you're making all my babies die, basically. Like, she can't have a baby because apparently she thinks that because Jade's alive is the reason she can't conceive and come to term with a baby. So the whole book is basically going after Jade and trying to kill her. And some of the stuff is so gruesome, like eating hearts, and it's very Snow Whitey in that sense. But there's a lot of like folklore in these. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be Chinese folklore. It doesn't say, but there's a lot of folklore stories to doing with swans and phoenixes and dragons and serpents. And I just loved like this, just going on these adventures and seeing characters from the first novel come back, and you're like, oh, that's that person, but they're under a different name. Oh, it was a lot of fun to read. So I rated this 4 stars. I'm very curious to know where the 3rd book is going to go, because I have no idea, because I didn't know where this book was going to go. So I'm looking for an adventure, so I'm hoping it'll be fun. So this was a good 4-star read. Then, surprise book! This book was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This guy didn't show up till a week later because he didn't want to come with the rest of the rest of my books. Whatever. This one was a disappointment anyway. I rated it 3 stars, but I think I want to change it to 2 stars because this book, I don't even know how to describe it to you. The mental health representation was really good. It deals with Aza having anxiety, like super high, like she's very, very anxious, and I thought that it was really, really well done. But like the plot about trying to find a billionaire's father, like no, the father is the billionaire, and then she ends up befriending the son who she ends up hooking up with. It's like it didn't feel believable, and I was always very confused as to why she was going to try and help him. And I mean, most of the plot was basically so that we could see Aza in like having anxiety, her anxiety going extreme, and then her trying to deal with anxiety. That is basically what the point of the book is. But then you get all these other things thrown in like this, and I feel like it needed a better plot. The plot was terrible. So this book wasn't for me. Maybe it's for someone else, but it wasn't for me. Yeah, I mean, read at your own risk. At least it was short. It was only like 280 something pages, and I flew through this because it was so fast paced. Like, stuff was happening, and I'm like, oh, okay, oh, this is happening, oh, this is happening. So I was like, oh, alright. So that's my weird rambly ramble on that book. So, to conclude, these were my last 5, this time it's actually 5, library books. I think it was a very successful library haul because most of my books were 4-star reads. Still looking for a good 5-star read, but that's okay. These were those. And that is all I have for you all today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, a like, a comment, a subscribe, do your thing. If you read any of these books below, leave a comment in the comments below. And thanks for watching. So thanks and bye guys!